All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we are diving deep into your DNA to talk about one specific gene, COMT. Now, this might sound complicated, but stick with me because this one little gene can have a huge say in everything from how you handle a stressful day to how that morning cup of coffee really hits you. So have you ever looked around and wondered why some people just seem to sail through stressful situations, while for others, it feels like the world is ending? Well, it turns out a huge piece of that puzzle could be hiding right inside your genetic code, in one single, really powerful gene. Okay, so first things first. What is the COMT gene? The easiest way to wrap your head around it is to think of it as the instruction manual for your brain's very own super dedicated cleanup crew. So what does this cleanup crew do? Well, its main job is to deactivate and clear out key brain chemicals, neurotransmitters, after they've done their job and delivered their message. This is absolutely vital. Without it, your brain's communication lines would get all cluttered up and things would go haywire. And what exactly is COMT cleaning up? We're talking about the big ones, the real heavy hitters of your brain chemistry: dopamine, epinephrine, which you probably know as adrenaline, and norepinephrine. Yeah, these are the chemicals that run the show when it comes to your mood, your ability to focus, and that whole fight or flight response. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting and really personal. It turns out not everyone's cleanup crew works at the same speed. And that speed? It's all determined by the specific version or variant of the COMT gene that you inherited. Basically, there are three main speeds for your COMT enzyme. You can have the fast version, the slow one, or one that's kind of right in the middle, an intermediate speed. And these names you see here, Valval, Valmet, and Metmet, they just refer to the specific genetic code. But the bottom line is, they directly control how fast your brain's cleanup crew gets to work. And believe me, that speed makes a huge difference in your brain chemistry. So if your cleanup crew is super fast, it clears out dopamine really, really quickly. That means you tend to have lower levels of it just hanging around. On the flip side, if your crew is slow, that dopamine lingers for a lot longer, which leads to higher baseline levels in your brain. Two totally different internal environments. Okay, so what does all this talk about fast or slow processors actually mean for you in your day-to-day life? Let's get into the real-world implications because this is where it gets practical. It's pretty amazing how much the speed of this one enzyme can influence. For instance, some research has linked the fast variant to a higher risk for things like mood disorders. Meanwhile, having the slow variant might actually make you more sensitive to pain. It's just a powerful reminder of how one tiny little piece of your DNA can have such a massive ripple effect across your health. And here's another fascinating layer to this whole thing. See, COMT doesn't affect everyone in the exact same way. See, it also helps process estrogen. Because of that, its effects can play out differently between men and women, especially when hormones are fluctuating. It adds a whole other dimension to the story. Now, it's super important to understand that COMT doesn't work alone. It's not a solo act. It's actually in a critical partnership with another really important gene called MTHFR. And to really get the full picture of COMT, you have to understand how this genetic team works together. The best way to think about it is like a biochemical assembly line. MTHFR works upstream, kind of at the beginning of the line. Its job is to produce these essential little tools called methyl groups. Then, COMT works downstream. It takes those tools that MTHFR made and uses them to do its big cleanup job. So the flow is pretty simple, right? Step 1, MTHFR makes the tools, the methyl groups. Step 2, CMT gets those tools. And step 3, CMT uses them to break down dopamine and all those other neurotransmitters. So you can see what happens, right? If you have a variant that slows down your MTHFR gene, your CMT cleanup crew doesn't get enough tools, and the whole process can get seriously bogged down. And this is why just looking at one gene in isolation doesn't give you the whole story. When you know your status for both MTHFR and COMT, that's when you get a much clearer, much more powerful picture of how your brain is actually wired for things like mood, focus, and so much more. All right, let's bring this all home. How can you actually use this genetic knowledge? How can it help inform some of your real-life health and lifestyle choices? So where can you start applying this knowledge, like right now? Well, a fantastic place to start is with your diet. Because believe it or not, what you eat can directly interact with your specific COMT gene. For instance, let's say you have that fast COMT variant. You might be the person who gets really jittery and anxious from caffeine. But if you have the slow version, the effects of that single morning coffee could stick with you for a much longer time, maybe even into the afternoon. See how personal it is? And this, right here, is really the ultimate takeaway. This genetic information isn't about boxing you in or finding problems. It's about empowering you with a personalized instruction manual for your own body. By working with a healthcare professional who understands this stuff, you can use this knowledge to really fine-tune your nutrition and even your supplement choices. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Today, we've only scratched the surface, looking at just one single gene. So just imagine, what else could you unlock by understanding your full genetic story? The future of truly personalized health is literally waiting inside your DNA.